All right, so there's never been a more relatable villain or anti-hero in real life more than Luigi Mangione. Like the guy literally killed a father with kids, right? Not laughing about that. And people are supporting him. People love him. They find him charismatic. They call him a hero, call him Robin Hood. And despite the horrible thing that he did, he is still liked. So what are the psychological principles that's causing this type of hysteria? Because it is a hysteria. And it's not just his looks, even though we are going to include that psychological aspect. There's something more to it that I don't think he's aware he's tapping into. And these are the things that you guys can tap into today or whenever you want to actually make you more attractive, more likable amongst your friends. If you're running a political group, it'll help you bring more voters. If you're running a company, it'll bring in more people, increase morale. I mean, these strategies are well, this is the thing again. He doesn't know he did this, right? I just think he was doing his own thing. I just think he fell to the perfect situation, right? Where Trump just got elected. There's like a new transition. We're about to turn into 2026. And so a lot of things happen that I think is what makes him so likable. So we're going to talk about that and break it down to you guys in this video so that you guys can increase your charisma and become more likable to most people, all right? But there's a warning. If you do this, you're going to have some enemies. Now, if you go all in, you might go to prison, but you know, we ain't doing that. By the way, check out my new channel, Professor Alex. It's a channel that I created where I talk about spirituality, self-help, and topics like the ones you see here. It's completely different from the men's channel. So click on that right now, and there you'll be able to get 3 or 4 videos per week that you will never find on this channel. Okay, subscribe right now or else I'm closing it. The first thing that he did, and the first thing that you have to tap into if you want to have this type of charisma is to tap into the collective unconscious. The collective unconscious is the accumulation of all the frustrations of a people. If you are around those people, you will feel this collective unconscious. If you are separated from those people, you won't feel this collective unconscious, and the stirring and the frustration that manifests itself will come out of nowhere. Well, that's because you're disconnected from reality. The collective unconscious here is the hatred towards healthcare. And the reason why is because they've been affected. They know someone or someone else who's been affected. And so you have this collective unconscious brewing up, right? And most people secretly want to hurt the people who hurt them. You know how many times I've wanted to smack the shit out of the MTA workers because they made me late to work? You know how many times I've done that? But you can't hit them because there's no one to hit. So most people secretly want to hurt the ones that exploit them, but they have too much common decency for it. If someone does it for them, they'll secretly glee, meaning, I hate you, but I'm not going to kill you. But if somebody does it, I'm not going to cry, right? And that is, they call that, what's the psychological, it's called, that's called moral disengagement, where people like it when you offer them the opportunity to vent. It involves the psychological process where individuals justify or rationalize unethical behavior, like violence and murder, allowing them to act against their moral principles without feeling distress. So he literally becomes a vessel where people can express their inner hostility and still maintain the sense of self that they're actually a good person. People will like you if through you, they're able to express taboo thoughts and emotions. And one of the taboo thoughts and emotions is that a lot of people want a lot of rich, powerful people to be thrown down. That's why people glee whenever you see guys like Diddy falling. Whenever you see powerful people falling, which you're seeing a lot of that right now, people secretly glee. But the thing is that people don't want to do it directly. They want something to do it for them. So they wouldn't be the one that pushes you off the mountain, but if somebody pushes you, they wouldn't save you, right? And so because of that, because he allows them to release that emotion, people like him. Because you allow me to express my dark side while maintaining the sense that I'm a decent human being. And that's something that people are just drawn to, right? So this mechanism includes like diffusion of responsibility. That's how Obama, like he's known to kill children, right? But we all know that Obama, accepted, no, what was it? He gave the green light to use drones, which without his knowledge, most likely, the drones killed a lot of children, right? But the thing is, he's responsible for it. But because he has a few steps behind, he doesn't have that moral burden, if that makes any sense. And what people love the most is not to resist temptation, but to give in to temptation. And he allows people to give in to temptation in a cathartic way where, hey, I'm sorry you got killed, but hey, man, you killed a bunch of people. And this is where the next part is the enemy effect. The enemy effect essentially is the worst in this case is if you have an enemy, you automatically enhance your charisma. But in this case, he becomes the worst of two evils. This is why we rationalize supporting politicians who've done things that were so shady that if any of our friends done it, we wouldn't be their friends. Now, why is that? Well, because we are rationalizing their behavior through the worst of two evils. Oh, yeah, he killed 2 people, but this person killed 10 people. And that's a way to hide your flaws. If you're a politician, if you're someone that wants to move up in the place of power, sometimes playing up the worst of two evils, where if you have flaws that are obvious, then what you want to do is piss on the pool, ruin it for everyone else, so that then you could be one of the worst of two evils, meaning I'm bad, but he's worse, right? So what you do is that you exaggerate the negative flaws of your opponent. And the way that you exaggerate them is through literally exaggerating the negative. If you're gonna, if they're prejudiced, call them racist. That's what they do, right? They find the worst associations and give it to them. Like if you questioning the government back then, they'll call you a conspiracy theorist, and that will destroy your reputation, right? So exaggerate how bad your enemies is. The problem with this is that it could divide people. And over time, people will see you as manipulative, and that could backfire on you. So you can't really go too far. What you want to be able to do is create contrast, right? What is different between me and that person? The contrast is the CEO killed a bunch of people because he denied them claims, right? And the contrast is that Luigi just killed one guy who profited over millions of people getting killed because the healthcare companies are denying coverage. So this is how, you ever wonder how people rationalize like crazy behavior back then? You might say, oh, that could never be me. No, that is you, because what this is tribal. This is tribal thinking, and it's a social contagion. Right? It's a social contagion that that is causing people to agree with things that they usually wouldn't. For example, he is a good-looking guy. Don't get me wrong. He is a good-looking. But the fact that other people are calling him good-looking, other people are saying, you know what? He is good-looking, right? Where if people usually wouldn't rationalize killing someone, but because they see so many other people supporting him, that same person who may have good morality will change their moral stance, all to fit in and conform to the group. And so this is why it's very dangerous. This explains why during the Hitler era, I know this is an exaggeration, but it's not, a lot of people supported him. And that's because Hitler, right? Hitler used the enemy effect really well. The Jews are taking up all the money. And even though it was an exaggeration, there was some truth behind it, but not to the point to kill him, right? He had the collective unconscious where people were really angry at a certain group of people, right? And they secretly hated them, but they didn't want to express it. And so you had a charismatic leader in Hitler, and he started expressing the hidden thoughts of most people. Now, maybe most people didn't know it was going to get that far, but that's what happens when you are in charge, when you have a demigod. Demigods are people who, and politicians who use fear, fear mongering, and in order to get people to act on them. There's no emotion more powerful to get people to act than fear and anger. And that's what they specialize in. And if you notice, this is like a collective unconscious, a collective energy that all of the elites don't like and that the people below the elites love. And because of that, he became that symbol. He is literally the symbol. You know the Pepe symbol back then? He's literally the Pepe symbol, right? You have a bunch of people who become symbolic, where you could call him a martyr, right? He is a martyr for a cause that he didn't know he was going to be representing. And so because he's a martyr, and on top of the fact that he's attractive, oh, let me tell you something. The person he killed, let me show you how he looked. I mean, think about it, right? The halo effect, this is the next thing that's actually going in his favor. The halo effect. Which is, if you're attractive, I'm going to give you positive traits. I trust people who are more attractive than people who are less attractive. That's just humans, like not just me. Don't click that into people. But like, that's just human nature. That's why politicians get picked, right? And so, because of that, if you looked at the guy he killed, he looked like this. I swear to God, I remember him from memory. So most likely this is exactly how he looks, right? Oh God, I gave him way too much hair, right? He has like the pudgy, rich, fat guy look. There you go. Oh my God, it is him. Yep, holy fuck, it is him, right? Little baldy right here, right? He killed him versus him. Who the fuck do you think people are unconsciously gonna like more? Him. And he kind of looks like exactly what you think. A bald, fat CEO with a wife and 2 kids, but has two fucking concubines, chicks that he bangs on the side that fucking for money, right? That's kind of like their stereotype. And you think of him as the lone, good-looking guy trying to get around. And because the big guy took his money, didn't give him health care, now he wants revenge. I totally understand where he's coming from. And what people don't understand is that he's not. You're nothing like him. He's a psychopath. Only psychopaths are willing to do that. Now, the last one is his physical weakness. You know, one of the laws of power is never appear too perfect. And the reason why is because if you appear too perfect, people need, in order to like you, they need to see weakness. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. In order to like you, they need to see weakness, right? For example, imagine I have all the money in the world, right? I'm 6'5", fucking going out with some hot person. I have 2 kids, right? Where was I going with that? And it seems like I have all the money in the world. A lot of people envy me. They see me and they secretly wish they had my luck. What happens is that when you appear too perfect, people are not gonna like you. But what happens if you know that my aunt and my mom and my uncle died, and I have fucking scoliosis and I have strong back pain? How does that change how you view me now? What you're gonna say is, well, his life isn't as perfect, I guess. Oh, I feel so bad. Oh, look at him. He looks, this whole time I hated on him, and in reality, he lives worse than me. He suffers more than me. Oh, I feel bad for that guy. Don't you notice how that kind of changes how you perceive him? Well, what happened is that it's kind of something like that, kind of similar happened, where he is a good-looking guy, but he had a spinal injury, right? And this spinal injury caused him to have to get, I believe it was like a surgery, like braces on his back. And the braces on his back is most likely what they said it wasn't covered with insurance. He's a rich person, right? But the point is that because of his back pain, that was another reason why he became so likable. On top of the fact that he's a really good-looking guy, it's funny how people ignore he's rich. Why? Well, because he represents a cause larger than himself. Even though he is a rich guy, because he represents a cause that's larger than him, people will like him more. If you have a lot of flaws and you want people to overlook your flaws, represent a higher cause. Like people supported Martin Luther King even though he was banging a bunch of chicks. Why? Because he represented the civil rights movement. If the cause is large enough, your sins can also equal to that type of proportion. And this is why powerful people, we let them get away with things because they say they represent a larger cause. When in reality, a lot of times they don't. But that's a sneaky way to really do whatever the fuck you want and get away with it. Represent a large cause. If you're a feminist and fucking Trump becomes the next feminist person, he's like, oh, the women, they don't belong in the kitchen. Take them out. Take him out the kitchen. And like, you're like, okay, I fucking hate him, but he's right. You know, if he keeps saying the right things, you're going to support the guy. I don't think so, actually. Fuck that. I know. So he uses what they call selective weakness. There was that's not even the word weakness, people. There was a politician in Canada. He used crack. I'm not even kidding, people. I know I talk about crack a lot, but he's really using crack. And so one time he was interviewed. He was known to be someone who was honest. They were like, "So what are you gonna do tomorrow?" He was like, I'm gonna go home and fuck my wife," like the politician, like a mayor. And people liked him, not because he got caught smoking crack 3 times and the last time from a prostitute, but because he was honest about it. He didn't, like, he was just like purely himself. Like, it was the funniest thing you should watch it if you could. But it's because he had a weakness and he wasn't ashamed of it. Sometimes what you think is a flaw, if you embrace it, becomes leverage and it becomes a strength, right? And so that's what he uses. Make sure if you have flaws and you appear perfect, which most likely you don't, if you do, find some imperfections, man. Tell people you cry a lot. I don't give a fuck. Say you shed a few tears. I don't care. Just become relatable. Don't be perfect. It's like those rich girls that, because they're so rich, they try to act like their life is perfect, and then they ask themselves, why don't people like me? It's because you're acting like your life is perfect and people don't like that. You gotta show some tears. If you're a pretty girl, act like you're fucking miserable. People, I swear to God, your ugly friends will relate to you more. Like, they're like, oh no, Melissa, the hot girl, she's fucking sad. You know what? I like her. I swear to God. But if you're too perfect, it's not easy to sympathize and to like you. All right. So this is the Luigi Mangione effect, where you tap into the collective conscious. You make sure you choose the right enemy. Choose an enemy that people hate a lot, so that they could forgive your flaws, so you can do a lot more evil and get away with it. Use the enemy effect, divide, exaggerate their negative traits. Remember, this is tribal. This is a social contagious. This is temporary. Most people don't act like this. This is just when somebody's angry, they have a state of anger until it comes down and people go back to normal. This is our way of expressing frustration, pretty much, right? It's like a temper tantrum. And if this doesn't happen, something worse would have happened, to be honest with you. And above all, you don't never appear too perfect. People like to see some weakness. If you do have weaknesses, don't be afraid to show it, man. You know, if you did crack before, embrace it. Tell people you did and that you stopped doing it. People like you more, you know? Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Take care.